Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Today I'm making a card and I'm using some of the new DSP and then two of the older sets of stamps that are carrying into the new catalogue. So I've got the Love What You Do set and the Beauty Abounds set. And then the paper that I'm using is the Magnolia Lane designer paper. And you only need a small piece of paper. And I started off and I'd chosen this striped paper, but actually it wasn't quite the effect I was going for. So although this is all cut, I've changed and I'm going to use this paper, which has the magnolias on the back, but I'm using this side. So let me show you what you need. I've started off with a piece of thick Whisper White, and it's cut just an ordinary piece of card cut in half, and so it's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25. Sorry, the doorbell just rang and I wasn't quite sure if somebody was coming in or not then. So here's our basic card. I've scored it at the 4.25 and I'm just going to fold it over. And because I want this to be my card base and I'm not adding card to the inside or paper to the inside, I've chosen the thick Whisper White. Sometimes I'll use the thinner Whisper White if I'm going to add layers to both sides, but just for stability, I've chosen the thick one today. And then you need a piece of layering card, and I've chosen the Mossy Meadows because it goes with the paper that I've chosen. So this is just 1/4 inch smaller all the way around, so it's 4 by 5.25. And then our DSP is another 1/4 inch smaller all the way around. So this one is cut at 5 by 3 3/4, and we're going to attach that one to the Mossy Meadow card. This is one of those cards when it's not a lot of stamping involved. You can just play with the beautiful papers and card colours that we've got, and you don't have to worry too much about having all of the stamp sets that match the suite. You can use, just like me, you can use different stamp sets for whatever sentiment you need. Okay, so there's our layers for our image to go on. And our image is one that I've used from here, from the Love What You Do. I've just stamped this very simple flower on here, and I'm going to use the For You sentiment from the Beauty Abounds. I'm not going to use anything else from it, it's just simply for the sentiment. So I've got that on my block, and I'm going to stamp it quite close to the flowers because I'm going to cut the flowers out, and I want to have a little bit of space at the right hand side, and my stamping, I don't want it to be too spread out because otherwise I won't get it all in the frame. Okay, so while that dries, I actually have another one that I stamped, and I'm going to colour in just with my blends. I'm going to use the Flirty Flamingo, and I'm only going to use the light one. So it's just going to quickly and easily just go over all of the petals. I'm not doing the light and the dark together. I'm just going to use the light pen. So it's fairly quick colouring. And then I'm going to use the other side because I found that with this Flirty Flamingo, when you use the smaller nib, it actually comes up a little bit darker. So I'm just going to put some little shaded pieces on. Nothing, too difficult. I'm just going on each petal, putting a little dark piece in the middle, and then those petals that look like they're at the back, I've just gone over and made all of them dark. And then I've got the brush end again. I'm just going to go over so that it all blends in. And you can choose any colour you want for this card. I just wanted a sort of a pinkish colour, but it would look equally pretty with the lilacs or the yellows, whatever works. And then you need your layering circles, and I've chosen the largest of the layering circles and the largest of the scallop. And what I've done is I've just laid this on top, and instead of having it halfway and centered, I need it to be with a blank piece at the right hand side. So I've moved the circle over so that it's right on the edge of the writing, and I've cut that out. Now let me find the one I've done. So here's the one I've done. So you can see I've got a blank piece at the right hand side because we're actually going to cut that piece off. And then with the scalloped circles, I've used a piece of the mossy meadow and cut that out. So here's the ones I've done already. And let's move those. So I'm just going to attach the two together. And we are going to cut off some of that white area at the right hand side of the image. And just layer these two up. There we go. Okay, now let's go back to the card for the layers that we'd made. I'm going to attach a little piece of ribbon across the middle. So I'm just putting adhesive on the back, and I'm using the Magnolia Lane ribbon. Just attach it across there, sort of roughly the centre. Let me just find my scissors, which have gone walkabout. Not sure where they are, so I'll use my big scissors. Just trim the edge off there and adhere it on the back, just like that. Okay. And then we're going to attach this flowered part on, and I'm going to attach it so that some of it overhangs. This is the piece we'll actually cut off. You could put it up on dimensionals or glue it straight down. I'm going to put mine on dimensionals. And I'm only going to put them down the left hand side of the image. I'll put one in the middle so that it will go just like this. Take the backings off. It is a very sweet, simple little card, this. And you know that when I make cards, I like to find sort of the easiest way to make a nice impact. And I think this is one of those cards. It's an easy one to do. The only thing I'm trying to line up here is make sure that my writing is straight. There we are. Now, you can use scissors to cut this off. You could put it in your trimmer. Let me just get the trimmer. You could put it in the trimmer and line that up and cut it off. But I'm actually going to do mine with the scissors. And that way I know I don't cut the ribbon. If you are worried about cutting the ribbon, instead of putting the ribbon over this back piece of layered card, put it just over the DSP instead, and then you won't be right on the edge. Just pop my glasses on so that I can see. Okay, and then I'm just going to follow the line of the card, just like that. So we've got a little piece cut off here. And we don't need this, so in the bin it goes. Now let's find our card base. I'm going to attach it. If you hadn't put dimensionals on the front piece, you could add this to the cardstock by dimensionals, but I wouldn't recommend doing both, because then if it's a card that's going to be mailed, it's going to cost you extra for mailing. Let me just press that down. Let me just get my bone folder. It's a bit springy. There we go. Just make sure you've attached it so that you've got the same little border all the way around. Often when I make this card, I will make the borders even narrower, no, even wider, beg your pardon. So I'll make the first layer of card this 5 by 3 3/4, and then I'll do the DSP at 4 3/4 by 3.5. But for this one, I just wanted it to be a little bit bigger. Okay, now here where the ribbon is, I'm going to cut another little piece, and you can either tie that in a knot or a bow. I'm going to try with a bow on this one. And I want the bow to be quite near to the flowers here. Let's see, I might not have given myself quite enough for a bow, but we'll see. Ooh, let's nip that back in. Would have been better if I'd cut a slightly longer piece. I think I'm just going to take that off and cut a longer piece. So let's see how long that was and give myself an extra couple of inches. Wasn't a very nice cut, was it? There we go. Let's put this in here. I like this new ribbon. It almost feels like a woven ribbon, like a hop sack, or just a piece of woven material rather than a soft silky ribbon. But I like the texture of it. I think it looks really pretty on cards as well. There we go. And let's cut that again. Where are my nice scissors? Where have I put those down? There's one. And let's cut the other end so that it's the same. And if you are having trouble keeping that ribbon flat, you could always just put a little glue dot underneath. And there you are, that's it. So when you look at the card, where the circle is cut off, all you see is the white edge. I think that's a really pretty and an easy template to use. Well, what you could do is use a smaller circle so that you have more of the background scallop showing, so you have more of this showing. You could do the background scallop in the same pink, which was Flirty Flamingo, so the same as the flowers. And you could add little rhinestones. I think these would look nice with some little rhinestones on. Let me just get my box. And as long as your sentiment is quite small, then you are able to get flowers and a sentiment on. If your sentiment starts to get a little bit larger than that, it's difficult because you can't cut much of the circle off. Okay, I'll find my pokey tool, and let's use just some of the little rhinestones. I'll put one at the bottom of each of the flowers. To add a little bit of bling to it. There, oh, that looks so much prettier, doesn't it? If you wanted more, you could put some on the DSP as well. You could choose little parts of the DSP, but I think that's just perfect. So there we are. What a quick little card to make. I'm going to put the measurements from my book here. Let's put that there like that and move these. And then if you need the measurements, you can just stop the video and have a look. And this border is the 5 1/4 by 4 and the DSP 5 by 3 3/4. If you wanted to make it so that you had a larger border, like I said earlier, then you need these sizes, where the first layer would be 5 by 3 3/4 and the DSP 4 3/4 by 3.5. And then here you see, this is my little diagram. The actual card looks so much nicer. But there we are, a quick little card for today, and one where you can use any DSP and any combination of stamp sets that you already have. Thanks very much indeed for watching me, everybody. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.